Hi friends, I am Dr. Pooja Johari, and so far I have been discussing different topics on biochemistry with you guys for the past 2-3 months. Now, as per the demand of certain students, they wanted that I should discuss some of the biochemistry questions which have been asked for the MSc AIMS exam. So this video is just a small effort from my side. What I have done is I have just picked some of the questions from previous 5 years which have been asked for the students who are preparing for the MSc Biochemistry and entrance. Now all of you must be familiar with the syllabus. Basically all the aspirants, all the students who are preparing for this MSc Biochemistry, they should have a sound knowledge of molecular biology first of all, enzymology, and different, you can say, types of metabolism and their inborn error of metabolism. All right, so I'll be discussing only 20 questions, and these questions have been picked up from the previous years. So just a small effort, and if you people like my video, then obviously I'm going to record more questions on that. So let's start up with the recording. Now see, all of you know what type of questions are asked in the exam. It's obviously a multiple choice questions. They say, let's start up with question number 1. Which of the following is an example of attenuated vaccine? Now, if this type of question comes, first of all, you should know what are the different type of vaccines. Live attenuated means it is live, means only the virulence part is put weak or it is inactivated. Similarly, there are actually 5 type of vaccines, like live attenuated is there, inactivated vaccine is there, conjugate vaccines are there, toxoid vaccines are there, polysaccharide vaccines are there. So the question here is, which of the following is an example of attenuated? Now out of these 4 type of vaccines, yellow fever is the one which is an example of live attenuated. Right? Now I've made one slide. You can see these are the different type of, basically all of you must be familiar with what do you mean by vaccines. Vaccines are the biological preparation produced from the living organism. And basically what is their purpose is they enhance the immunity against diseases. Right? So live and attenuated में the examples are MMR, measles, mumps, rubella and varicella zoster. Inactivated vaccines include, inactivated means they are inactivated completely. There you can say that virulent part is finished. Hepatitis A is an example, influenza is an example, and pneumococcal polysaccharide. Then recombinant, hepatitis B. Toxoid, the examples are tetanus and diphtheria. And conjugate polysaccharide includes pneumococcal, meningococcal, Haemophilus influenza type B, or commonly it is known as Hib also. So these are the different 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 classes of vaccines. Yellow fever will come under this class. Right. Then next question, albinism is caused by the deficiency of. Now this is again a one-liner question, straightforward question. Albinism. The deficient enzyme is tyrosinase. Basically what happens is this tyrosine actually, it is synthesized from phenylalanine in our body. Phenylalanine synthesizes tyrosine. This tyrosine is responsible for the synthesis of melanin, the skin pigment, responsible for T3 and T4, triiodothyronine and tetraiodothyronine, or all the thyroid hormones, catecholamines, which include epinephrine and norepinephrine. So always remember, this tyrosine, once its function is over, it is degraded depending upon its fate of carbon, or you can say we always discuss amino acids as per their nitrogen skeleton and as per their carbon skeleton. So it is degraded, whether it is glucogenic, whether it is ketogenic, or whether it is both, it will undergo that. But here the question says, this tyrosine, when it is converted to melanin, the most important enzyme is tyrosinase. So what happens is, if tyrosinase is deficient, there will be no formation of melanin, or skin pigment won't be produced, which will lead to albinism. And that is what the question says. So the answer is tyrosinase. Then HMG-CoA reductase, this is a very important enzyme of cholesterol biosynthesis. It is the rate limiting enzyme of that. Phenylalanine hydroxylase is the enzyme which is responsible for this reaction, conversion of phenylalanine to tyrosine. And arginase is the enzyme of urea cycle. Deficiency of arginase leads to accumulation of arginine, or argininemia is there. Phenylketonuria is there, and this is simple cholesterol biosynthesis ka enzyme. So the answer to this question is tyrosinase. Then next, a very important question. The flow of electrons through the respiratory chain is uncoupled by which of the following? Now this is a very important question. Basically, students get confused between two terms here, inhibitors and uncouplers. Basically, see, one term, intermediary metabolism, is there, which means whether we are having carbohydrates in our diet, whether we are having proteins, or whether we are having fat. These are the three things which we eat in our diet. They are finally converted into acetyl coenzyme A, which gives out its two carbon atoms in the form of carbon dioxide by TCA cycle, where electrons and protons are released, which combine in the presence of oxygen to form water by ETC. And whatever energy is required for the transport of electrons, that energy is utilized for the synthesis of AP, which is oxidative phosphorylation. So basically, ETC and OP are coupled. Means whatever energy is released during ETC, that is utilized for the synthesis of ATP in the body. So here we are talking about inhibitors and uncouplers. Inhibitors always block a particular complex, whereas uncoupler is the one which is uncoupling this process. Uncoupling means whatever energy which was utilized to form ATP will be dissipated in the form of heat. Right. Now let's look at the respiratory chain, because this is important and this can be asked in the exam. And this has been asked in the exam, because I told you in the starting only that I have picked up only those questions which have been asked in the previous years. So respiratory chain is actually known as electron transport chain. It has four complexes: complex 1, complex 2. These two hand over the electrons to coenzyme Q, or which is also known as ubiquinone. Right. This ubiquinone transfers the electrons to complex 3. This complex 3 transfers its electrons to complex 4. Right. And here oxygen and protons combine to form the metabolic water. This ETC is occurring where? In the inner mitochondrial membrane. Right. And what happens is, if we look at the structure of mitochondria, it is invaginated to form cristae. This is occurring here in the inner mitochondrial membrane. So there is accumulation of these protons outside. And this inner mitochondrial membrane is impermeable to these protons. So it searches for a site, and the site from where it is transported inside are nothing but F1 minus F0, which are also known as oxysomes. Right? And this is how you can say ATP is produced. So you can see whatever protons are being released through electron transport chain, they are being utilized for the synthesis of ATP. Now here the question says uncoupler. So basically, first of all, let's look at the inhibitors first. The inhibitors of complex 1 are PCR. PCR stands for polymer. This is a mnemonic also. PCR stands for polymerase chain reaction, or you can say PCR is the other inhibitors of complex 1. Chlorpromazone and rotenone. Right. The inhibitors of complex 2 are carboxin, malonate. Complex 3 are all the hypoglycemic drugs like metformin and all. And complex 4 ka inhibitor is cyanide. Very, very important. Cyanide and hydrogen sulfide. Right. So these are what? These are the inhibitors. Similarly, the process of synthesis of ATP is oxidative phosphorylation. Inhibitor of this is oligomycin. Right. But uncouplers are what? Which are uncoupling the processes. So if we look at the uncouplers, they can be synthetic or they can be physiological. If we look at the synthetic uncouplers, the most common one is 2,4-dinitrophenol. It was used for weight reduction also, but later stages it was denied by FDA. And physiological includes, the most important is thermogenin. Free fatty acids are also there. Free fatty acids. Right. Now let's look at the options. The flow of electrons is uncoupled by which of the following? It is clear. You can see answer is thermogenin, which is a physiological uncoupler. Logical uncoupler. Carbon monoxide, you can see it is an inhibitor of complex 2. Oligomycin is an inhibitor of oxidative phosphorylation, and cyanide is an inhibitor of complex 4. So the answer is thermogenin. Then next, an adult female was prescribed statins, which are a class of cholesterol reducing drug. Which of the following is the target drug? Now see, statins, lovastatin, atorvastatin, these are actually competitive because see, these are reducing the concentration of cholesterol. They are given to the person suffering from hypercholesterolemia, means increased concentration of cholesterol. So obviously these drugs will be given to that person just to bring the level of cholesterol down. That means, and one thing very important I'm going to tell you is cholesterol synthesis takes place in our body. Synthesis, or you can say it is also known as biosynthesis of cholesterol. It takes place in our body. So obviously these statins are going to, decrease the synthesis of cholesterol, isn't it? Now, how they are going to decrease the synthesis of cholesterol? They always act on the enzymes. So out of these four, only this is the enzyme which is related to the synthesis of cholesterol. Or this is the rate limiting enzyme of cholesterol biosynthesis. Rate limiting enzyme of cholesterol biosynthesis. This is again a very important question. Lovastatin is also an inhibitor of HMG-CoA reductase, and the type of inhibition is competitive inhibition. So you can say that statins are competitive inhibitors of HMG-CoA reductase, which is a rate limiting enzyme of cholesterol synthesis. Right. So the answer to this question is clear. It is HMG-CoA reductase. If we look at ALT, ALT stands for alanine transaminase. ALT, alanine transaminase. It rises in liver diseases. Lipase, C, as the word suggests, lipase, digesting lipids. And cholecalciferol is vitamin D, which is actually 125 DHCC cholecalciferol, or it is also known as calcitriol. So the answer here is HMG-CoA reductase. Then who discovered and described the blood groups? Very simple. Karl Landsteiner was the one who gave the concept of ABO. And again, very important thing, ABO blood group में AB is considered to be a universal recipient. Universal recipient. And O is known as universal donor. This can also be asked. 1 lakh antigens, 1 lakh antibodies. The next question, which of the following is the correct combination of marker enzymes? Now, what are marker enzymes? It is clear from the word itself. Marker means they are marking a particular organelle. Means their presence is for a particular organelle. So that if there is any abnormality in that organelle, the concentration of that enzyme will increase. Now, before taking up all the options, I'm going to tell you one very important thing. Some things you have to literally learn. जैसे if we talk about marker enzymes, cytoplasm, marker enzyme is lactate dehydrogenase, very important. Mitochondria, all of you know mitochondria is also known as powerhouse of the cell. Marker enzyme for mitochondria is succinate dehydrogenase. This is the only enzyme which is present in the inner mitochondrial membrane. Otherwise, this is an enzyme of TCA cycle. TCA occurs in the matrix of mitochondria. Only SDH is the enzyme which is present on the inner mitochondrial membrane. Similarly, peroxisomes have catalase. If we talk about lysosomes, they have acid phosphatase. They also have galactosyltransferase. Now in the option, what are the organelles? Cytosol is there, mitochondria is there, lysosomes are there, and peroxide. These are the ones which I have discussed. Now see, cytosol, I told you it is lactate dehydrogenase. It is given in option 3. Mitochondria SDH, succinate dehydrogenase. It is correct. So this is the answer. And marker enzymes are the ones which are marking a particular organelle which can identify by this subcellular fractionation. This is a method to separate different organelles. Then next, which of the following scientists was awarded Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine in 1987? Susumu Tonigawa. Some things you have to mark up. They said this question is there. Then one question was regarding the ABO blood groups that I told you it was Landsteiner. So these things you should remember. Father of botany, father of zoology, father of microbiology, father of biotechnology, father of biochemistry. These are the things which you should actually form notes, because one question will be asked on this. Then which of the following sequences are not palindromic? Now palindromic sequences means whether they are read from this direction or they are read from this direction, they are the same, mirror of each other. Now look at these options. Suppose if we take up this, if you write, see, you know thymine always pairs. Suppose if we take this A, T, G, C, A, T, A, T, G, C, A, T. You know thymine always pairs up with adenine. Adenine will pair up with cytosine. Adenine will pair up with thymine. Cytosine with guanine. Guanine with cytosine. Then T. So you can see ki what will happen is ki if we read it from this direction or we read it from this direction, it will be same. That is what is a palindrome. Similarly, if you look at this option, isme you can see AAGG is there. So this cannot be a palindrome, isn't it? Because adenine pairs up with thymine, not with guanine. In this adenine, thymine, this is again a palindrome. TA, this is again a palindrome. So out of these, only this is the one which is not palindromic in nature. So the answer to this question is B or 2. But isme whenever you have to attempt a question, you should know what do you mean by palindrome. Write it like this. Write the complementary base sequence. You'll come to know. And वैसे भी it is clear. TA. ठीक है? AT, TA. Only this is there, AG, which is not possible. Then which of the following about the formation of uric acid is correct? Now, what is uric acid? Uric acid is actually the degradative product of purines. Degradative product of purines. The concentration of uric acid is 3 to 7 mg per dl. And you know, one very interesting thing, purines are what? These are the nitrogenous bases present in DNA and RNA. They are actually synthesized by de novo synthesis. Now, always remember, if anything which is produced in our body, it has to be degraded. Means rate of formation of something is equivalent to the rate of degradation of that. So purines, if synthesized by de novo and salvage pathway, they have to be degraded. And the degradative product is uric acid. And purines are adenine and guanine. So let's look at the options. Uric acid levels are increased by increasing the activity of the salvage pathway. No. Overproduction of uric acid levels in hypoxanthine? Yes. Because this HGPRT enzyme is actually the enzyme of salvage pathway. If this is deficient, obviously there will be increase in the concentration of purines, so they will be degraded. Right? So the answer to this question is option number 2. Then malonyl-CoA is an inhibitor of. Now this malonyl-CoA is synthesized from acetyl coenzyme A. This is the first rate limiting enzyme of lipogenesis. Now see, metabolism has a very interesting role to play in our body. Just now I told you if something is being produced, the automatically that thing has to be degraded. Or rate of input of something is equivalent to the rate of output of that. So if we talk about lipogenesis, exactly a antagonistic process will be there, which is lipolysis. Genesis, formation of fat, lysis, degradation of fat. Whenever something is in surplus, जैसे हम लोग खाते हैं, when we have a well fed state, means हम breakfast कर रहे हैं, lunch कर रहे हैं, dinner कर रहे हैं, that means we are taking in something. जैसे we are taking a diet rich in carbohydrates, so some of it will be diverted to form fats. And suppose if we starve, say we keep our fast, then also we are able to survive. Why? Because during starvation also there are certain reserves in our body which are giving energy. So that time degradation will occur, so lipolysis will occur. Up two processes cannot occur at the same time now. If lipogenesis is there, no question of lipolysis. And if lipolysis is there, there is no question of lipogenesis. Now this malonyl-CoA is what just now I told you, this is a rate limiting enzyme of lipogenesis, means acetyl coenzyme A is being converted into this. And always remember, whenever we talk about degradation, it is in the mitochondria. Because mitochondria are the powerhouses of the cell. Whenever we talk about synthesis of something, it is the cytoplasm. अब fatty acid को अगर synthesis में जाना है, तो it has to be transported from the mitochondria to the cytoplasm. And if it has to undergo degradation, it has to be transported from the cytoplasm to the mitochondria. Up, if you see the enzymes, these two enzymes are the enzymes, or these are the enzymes of carnitine shuttle, which is operative, which is operative at this phase, means which is taking the fatty acid to the mitochondria for oxidation. Fatty acid synthase is again enzyme of lipogenesis, and thiokinase is altogether a different enzyme. It is phosphorylating the sulfhydryl group. Or you can say, जैसे suppose acetic acid has to form acetyl coenzyme, that time thiokinase will be required. Now malonyl-CoA, I'll show you the reaction. What happens is, this is the reaction. Acetyl coenzyme A, it is forming this malonyl coenzyme A. Enzyme is carboxylase, requires biotin, and it is a rate limiting enzyme. Now increased concentration of malonyl coenzyme A will obviously inhibit what? Carnitine transferase 1. So that synthesis is there, no question of degradation, no degradation is there. Similarly, palmitic acid also starts inhibiting, because when the concentration of palmitic acid starts increasing, it starts inhibiting its own synthesis. So carnitine, यहाँ पे you look at the enzyme, carnitine acyl transferase 1 is the enzyme which is present on the outer mitochondrial membrane. Acyl transferase 2, inner mitochondrial membrane. So malonyl-CoA, when the synthesis of fatty acid is occurring, there is no question of degradation of that. So it is going to inhibit that shuttle which is actually bringing in more and more of fatty acid from the cytoplasm to the mitochondria. So malonyl-CoA is an inhibitor of carnitine acyl transferase 1. Then which of the following is true for allosteric inhibition? Now see, inhibition, if we talk about, allo means other and steric is the interaction. So basically what happens is, here it is not called as an inhibitor, it is called as a modulator. This modulator goes and binds to a site different than the active site. It always, inhibitor binds to some other site than the active site of the enzyme. It never binds to the active site. It never causes the enzyme to work faster. It always reduces. No. True is it binds to some other site than the active site of the enzyme. Basically, see what happens in Michaelis, this thing only, allosteric inhibition. Enzyme has a kinetics. Kinetics means it has an initial velocity, it has a maximum velocity. Initial velocity, as the name suggests, when the reaction is started. Maximum velocity, when the reaction has accomplished. So there were two scientists, Michaelis and Menton, who gave the concept that enzyme binds with the active site, or substrate binds to the active site of the enzyme, forming enzyme substrate complex, which dissociates to form the free enzyme and the product. And if we look at the graph, it is like this. More the active site of the enzyme, more will be the enzyme substrate reaction, but a stage will come when all the active sites of the enzyme will be occupied by the substrate. So it attains a saturation kinetics. This type of curve is known as hyperbolic. Now when we talk about allosteric inhibition is altogether different. What happens is, if the modulator increases the rate of a reaction, if the modulator decreases the rate of a reaction, this will be known as an activator, and this will be known as an inhibitor. And this type of curve will be known as sigmoidal. So basically what is happening is this modulator is going and binding to a site totally different from the active site. Obviously, you know, enzyme is nothing but a protein. Just imagine proteins are formed of amino acids. When some other molecule is binding to a site other than the active site, there will be a change in the conformation of the entire enzyme. So whether it is increasing the rate of a reaction, that is an activator. Whether it is decreasing, that is an inhibitor. There's a binding of oxygen to heme. If one molecule binds, it helps other molecules also to bind. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is allosteric modulation. The other name of allosteric modulation is feedback inhibition also. Just suppose if we take this reaction, glucose forms glucose 6-phosphate, first enzyme of glycolysis, hexokinase. Obviously, this reaction is occurring when we are taking a diet rich in glucose, or we are in a well-fed state. Now what happens is increased concentration of glucose 6-phosphate will inhibit its own production. So what happens is it undergoes this feedback inhibition. It goes and binds to a different area. Because the substrate for hexokinase is glucose, it cannot bind where glucose is binding. So it is going to bind to some other area, so that for some time the reaction is stopped. So the answer to this question is, or वैसे भी always remember LO is other. So it binds to other site than the active site of the enzyme. Then folic acid is important for. Folic acid is also vitamin B9. The most important function of folic acid is it gives rise to 1-carbon metabolism. 1-carbon metabolism means it helps in the addition of 1 carbon, whether it is in the form of methyl group, whether it is in the form of formyl group, whether it is in the form of methylene group. So folic acid is important for this 1-carbon metabolism, which is vitamin B9. Now, if you want to study folic acid in detail, you can subscribe to my channel. I have discussed folic acid as an individual vitamin. This is actually a water-soluble vitamin. It comes under B complex. Very, very important. So you can have a look on my video also. There I have discussed this 1-carbon metabolism in detail. But here, it's like 1 carbon means it is imparting 1 carbon. A very good example of 1-carbon metabolism is formation of thymine from uracil. Uracil is a pyrimidine which is present in RNA, which is actually synthesized. And thymine is the pyrimidine which is present in DNA. So it has to be converted into thymine. For this, the enzyme required is folate reductase. Or if you see the structure of thymine, if you add methyl group into this, means uracil में if we add methyl group, it is converted into thymine. तो ये जो methyl group कहाँ से आया? It comes from folate reductase. This is one very important example. All the anti-cancerous drugs are folate inhibitors. They won't let the proliferation of thymine in the cells. Then AB is a substrate for enzyme D, which converts AB to AC. Enzyme is D. In the presence of a competitive inhibitor E, in place of substrate, the enzyme. Now see, this is competitive inhibition. Competitive inhibition means there is a competition between the inhibitor and the substrate. If we have to write an equation, if we write the normal equation, it is like this, which dissociates to form enzyme and the product. अब competition है, competition किसके बीच में? Between the substrate and the inhibitor, because the inhibitor resembles the substrate in structure. Resembles the substrate in structure. So basically what happens is कि enzyme, since they both are resembling each other, so enzyme instead of binding with the substrate goes and binds with the inhibitor. So if enzyme binds with inhibitor, enzyme inhibitor complex will be produced. Now if we look at the kinetics of this reaction, obviously Vmax will be same. Maximum velocity will be same. Why? Because the reaction will be accomplished at the same time. But Km will increase. Why Km will increase? Because the affinity of the enzyme with the substrate decreases. Because this Km is inversely proportional to the affinity of the enzyme with the substrate. If we say enzyme has high Km, affinity is low. And if we say it has low Km, affinity is high. So always remember, in competitive inhibition, Km will increase and Vmax will remain the same. And if we talk about non-competitive inhibition means there is no competition between the inhibitor and the substrate. So it can bind here also. So in non-competitive inhibition, if it binds with the enzyme substrate complex, Vmax has to decrease. But Km will be same. A very important question can be asked in the exam. Competitive inhibition is a very important inhibition in which there are so many questions, and there is a therapeutic use of competitive inhibition also. Just now I discussed about the role of statins. I told you statins are the competitive inhibitors of HMG-CoA reductase. The next, the rate limiting step of urea cycle is mediated by. Now urea cycle, again a very important question, a favorite topic of the examiners also. This question can also be asked. Now urea cycle ke I am just going to discuss the major steps which you should know. Now biochemistry mein, when you are preparing for your exam, keep just one thing in mind. Nobody is going to ask about the pathways and cycles, but yes, you should know what are the rate limiting enzymes of that. क्योंकि जैसे कहते हैं ना, for to learn English, we need to have sound knowledge of alphabets. To learn biochemistry, we need to have sound knowledge of the enzymes, because that is the basic difference between chemistry and biochemistry. Chemistry is simply a reaction. A catalyst can increase the rate of a reaction. But when we talk about biochemistry, it is nothing but it is actually the story of the enzymes, which are catalyzing a biochemical reaction. Whenever we go and visit a doctor, they tell us to go for a biochemical analysis, because it is the concentration of the enzymes which is either increasing in the plasma or it is increasing in the serum. So this is how you have to prepare. Now see urea cycle. Hota kahan pe? It occurs in the liver, right? It has 5 steps. Out of these 5 steps, first and Second step occurs in the mitochondria, and third, fourth, and fifth occur in the cytosol. Obviously, urea cycle is a cycle which is actually doing what? Which is catabolizing all the proteins, all the amino acids. So basically what happens here is, this is the cycle, carbon dioxide and ammonia, which is coming from proteins. It forms carbamoyl phosphate. The enzyme is CPS1. Right. Carbamoyl phosphate forms citrulline by combining with ornithine. The enzyme here is OTC, ornithine transcarbamylase. The citrulline combines with aspartate, forming arginosuccinate. The enzyme is arginosuccinate synthetase. Whenever we write synthetase, that means AMP plus PPI. This arginosuccinate synthetase gives out fumaric acid, which is a link to TCA cycle. It splits up actually. The enzyme is arginosuccinase, forming arginine. And this arginine undergoes hydrolysis, giving out urea, which is NH2 C double bond O NH2. And the enzyme is arginase. So these two steps occur in the mitochondria, first and second, and these two steps occur in the cytosol. Now the question is, the CPS1 is the rate limiting enzyme of urea cycle. And that is the question says, the rate limiting enzyme is carbamoyl phosphate synthetase 1. Rest of the enzymes are no doubt enzymes of urea cycle, but no, they are not the rate limiting enzymes. And then we come over to the next question, the process by which an amino acid catabolizes its carbon into acetoacetyl coenzyme is considered to be. Now see, to take up this question, see, proteins are what? Proteins are actually formed of amino acids, isn't it? And these amino acids have this type of structure, which is a zwitterion structure. Zwitterion means it has a carbon, it has nitrogen. So if we see, there are 20 standard amino acids. Only this thing is different, the rest are same. So how do we classify metabolism? We classify metabolism as per its carbon skeleton, as per its nitrogen skeleton. And always remember, proteins are the only macromolecules which have nitrogen in them. And this nitrogen is given out in the form of urea. Now this carbons, on the basis of this carbon skeleton, proteins, amino acids are divided into, they can be glucogenic. Genic is formation of glucose. Somewhat, some way or the other, they are related to the formation of glucose. One is they are ketogenic. Genic, genesis, keto means keto group is there or C double bond O is there. And they can be glucogenic as well as ketogenic. So this is how they are actually divided. Now see, ketogenic, if we talk about, leucine is the only ketogenic amino acid. So keto group means it is forming either acetyl coenzyme A, because if you look at the structure of acetyl coenzyme A, it is this SCOA, C double bond O keto aa gaya, or it is forming acetoacetyl CoA or HMG CoA. Glucogenic and ketogenic are PITT and L. This is the mnemonic again. L stands for lysine, P stands for phenylalanine, isoleucine, tyrosine and tryptophan. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, rest are glucogenic. Rest 14 amino acids are glucogenic. Now, what does the question says? Acetyl coenzyme A means they have to be ketogenic in action. Right? Not glycogenic, not both. Because here the metabolism is, it is into acetoacetyl coenzyme है. Acetoacetyl is what? Again, keto group. So the answer is ketogenic, right? And ketogenic, I told you, leucine is the only ketogenic amino acid. And both ketogenic mein lysine will come along with PITT. The next, lactose deficiency is characterized by its inability to hydrolyze. Now see, lactose is what? It is a disaccharide. If we see, there are 3 disaccharides which are physiologically important. One is lactose, one is maltose, and third one is sucrose. Now maltose has beta-1,4 galactosidic linkage. Maltose has alpha-1,4 glycosidic linkage or glucosidic linkage. Because maltose has glucose and sucrose has beta-1,2 glycosidic linkage. Means in lactose, glucose and galactose both are present in beta form. That is why it is beta-1,4 galactosidic. In maltose, it is glucose and glucose but in alpha form. And in sucrose, it can be alpha-1,2 or it can be beta-1,2. And sucrose is also known as an invert sugar because there is inversion of configuration. Sugar appears to be dextrorotatory, but when we look at the optical rotation of fructose overweighs to that of glucose. So it is invert. So the answer to this question is beta-1,4 galactosidic linkage. Then next, what happens if citrate concentration is increased during glycolysis? Now, always remember, if we talk about glycolysis may, there are 3 steps which are irreversible. 3 irreversible steps. One is conversion of glucose to glucose 6-phosphate. One is conversion of fructose 6-phosphate to fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. And third is conversion of pyruvate or PEP to pyruvic acid. Here the enzyme is hexokinase. Here the enzyme is pyruvate kinase, and here the enzyme is PFK1. Now, citrate ions. Citrate is what? Citric acid is the first product of TCA cycle. So TCA cycle, or you can say citrate ions, are the inhibitors of PFK1. Similarly, ATP is also an inhibitor of PFK1. So let's look at the question, what happens if citrate concentration is increased? So if the concentration of citrate increases, it starts inhibiting this enzyme of glycolysis. So let's see, it will inhibit which enzyme? It will inhibit phosphofructokinase and slow down glycolysis. Very, very important. Right. So this is how you have to remember that citrate and ATP ions are the inhibitors of PFK1 enzyme. So obviously PFK is the rate limiting enzyme of glycolysis. So obviously glycolysis will be stopped for some time. So the answer is 3. The next, S-adenosyl methionine. Now this S-adenosyl methionine is the active form of methionine. Methionine, which is a sulfur containing amino acid, it is actually a methyl donor. Methyl donor. Basically what happens is this methionine gets activated in the presence of ATP to form this S-adenosyl methionine. This S-adenosyl methionine, when donates its methyl group, is converted into S-adenosyl homocysteine, and this homocysteine then gives out this adenosyl residue and is converted into homocysteine. And this homocysteine is converted to methionine by folic acid and B12. And this methyl group is actually acting as a donor. It is given to the acceptor, which forms a methylated derivative. Okay, now let's look at the options. It is required for the synthesis of, see, serotonin is a very important vasoconstrictor. It helps in stimulation of the cerebral activity. It is synthesized from tryptophan. Melanin is synthesized from tyrosine. Thyroid hormones also synthesized from tyrosine. Epinephrine also synthesized from tyrosine. But here what is the question saying? SAM. So what happens is this tyrosine actually forms norepinephrine, which is the first catecholamine to be synthesized. This norepinephrine is finally converted into this. Here methylation is required, and methylation means SAM is required here. And the enzyme is phenylethanolamine transferase. Serotonin, when it is converted into melatonin, requires SAM. So here it is simply saying this, the answer would be epinephrine. Then the active site of chymotrypsin consists of a catalytic triad composed of which of the amino acid residues. Now if we talk about chymotrypsin, chymotrypsin is a very important serine protease. Serine protease means obviously it has serine at its active site at the 195 residue. And what are the active site has serine, that is why it is a serine protease, and the rest amino acids are histidine and aspartate. So the answer is this. Now let's look at the properties of chymotrypsin. It is an endopeptidase. Endopeptidase means it acts within the peptide bonds internally, and where it cleaves is the proteins which are rich in aromatic amino acids like tyrosine, tryptophan and phenylalanine. And its active site has serine at 195 residue, histidine at 57 residue, and aspartate at 102 residue. So you can see the option is serine, histidine and aspartate. Then the last question, lovastatin. Statin, I told you, statins are the competitive inhibitors of HMG-CoA reductase. Now see, 4 options are given just to create a confusion in your mind. HMG-CoA synthetase, HMG-CoA reductase. Now always remember, rate limiting enzyme of cholesterol biosynthesis is HMG-CoA reductase. And I told you it is a competitive inhibitor. So obviously competitive inhibitor of HMG-CoA reductase. This will be the answer. Is it clear to all of you? So this is all about, I have just discussed 20 questions with you just to, this is my attempt just to show what is the pattern of the questions being asked in the exam. I hope I was able to justify myself, and I hope most of the queries of you people have been solved. Now, if you want to know more details, if you want to know what kind of questions generally come, kindly subscribe to my channel and give me a positive feedback so in future I can record more questions. This was just an attempt. This was just a small effort. That is why I made just 20 questions out of it. If you people like it, definitely I'm going to incorporate more and more of questions with more and more of explanations. Because all of you have seen the syllabus. In the syllabus, there are other aspects also which can be asked. Like if you talk about different, you can say biology is the subject which is asked, which will include botany as well as zoology also. So let me see if I can record more questions in future. Thanks a lot. All the best.